Welcome to a lap at Zuera. The first corner is full throttle to the right. Try to keep the steering input minimal. Brake early enough for the next combination. You can come out a bit wide and still take the left corner full throttle. Prepare for the first right hairpin. Brake early and try not to slip into the corner. Go early on throttle to keep the speed high. The next corner is very tricky. Brake late into the corner, but with low brake force to prevent slipping. Keep at the inside and always have a little bit of throttle input. Come out to the left side, don't touch the curbs and maximize the speed out of the right hander. Brake early for the second hairpin and again minimize the slip, early on throttle to maximize outcome speed. The following right hander is almost full throttle. Lift off slightly but not completely and go on throttle again soon. The triple right hander follows next. Keep away from the first apex and aim for the second and third one. Don't go all the way to the right, but keep at the inside. There is a lot of grip there. Aim for the curb but don't hit it. Stay left and lift off just a bit to prevent any slip in the last corner. That's lap at the Zuera track. Thanks for watching and good luck.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now? Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now? attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
We have actually been able to keep an eye on the racing times of the laps of these drivers, and Jaden Thien was getting quicker by at least a second towards the end of the first heat. So the tyres will be coming to the drivers towards the end of each race. So Decline is 1.3 seconds behind Kai Rielats, but is being closed in on by Jaden Thien. But Decline has gone purple in Sector 2. Rielats purple in Sector 1. We go on board the back bumper of Christian Decline. And there is Jaden Thien. It's about 6/10 of a second behind. Rielats puts in 1 minute 4.207. Thien gets a bit closer in braking zone through turn number 2, but then loses out a bit of momentum. Comes through the hairpin after the turn 3 into the turn 4 hairpin. Rielats again lighting up the timesheets purple at 20.8 dead through sector number 1, and there is the current leader in this race as we're fast approaching the conclusion of lap number 3 out of 10 here at Zuera. So it is Rielats from Decline, Thien, Renhofer, Boudron. That is your top 5, all 5 drivers covered by 6 seconds at the end of around 2 3/4 laps. So still a lot to be decided, and I'm keeping my eyes on Renhofer and Thien, respectively in 4th and 3rd. Jaden Thien has gone purple in sector number 2. And in sector 3, who's set the benchmark in that one? Well, at the moment, it is actually Kai Rielats, who has had a bit of a drop in performance in sector number 3. But second to that is Christian Decline, then it's Renhofer, and then it's also Jaden Thien. Go on board with Renhofer, who looks to be closing up on Thien, and that gap is now around about 4/10 of a second between 4th and 3rd. Look at it from this perspective, between 2nd to 4th position, we have about 1.2 seconds covering these 3 drivers. So Kai Rielats managing to scarper away like a scalded cat on a hot tin roof. He's got away, and got away cleanly. It's a little bit of an extra bit of runoff taken by Jaden Thien, and that was actually 2 wheels on the grass off of the curbing. Very tight and twisty section here at Zuera. Then we'll bring them round the final corner. Lap 4 completed. Gilles now has a lead of over 2.3 seconds as Decline crosses the line. Thien still in second, as now Renhofer has put in the fastest lap of anybody, a 1 minute 4.140. Fastest in sector number 2 was the Austrian. So some great battling. Even though we only have 5 competitors, I knew that when I saw the names and I saw the likes of Decline, Thien and Renhofer in the same field, and having commentated on them for, on all of them over these for 2018 and 19, respectively. I've seen more action from Jaden Thien, Kai Gilles, not from Jaden Thien, but Kai Gilles, Raphael Renhofer and Christian Decline over the 2020 season, through both the B&L Karting Series and the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. I knew that as soon as I saw those names, we were going to have some great racing here at the Road to Formula Virtual Karting Trophy. And that is very much the case. Renhofer swarming all over the back bumper of Jaden Thien, looking to steal third position as we now hit lap number 5 out of, we've now gone past the halfway point onto lap number 6 as Renhofer closing on Thien. The gap just over a tenth of a second as it looked like Decline went a bit wide coming through the exit out of turn 1. And there you can see Renhofer waiting, biding his opportunity up the inside of the hairpin. All the pair clash side pods, but Renhofer makes it through into third place and keeps ahead of Thien for the minute. Thien now is it's one thing to be the hunter, to be the hunted. It's the other thing if you want to be the hunter, and now Jaden Thien is in the latter. He's got an opportunity to strike back at Raphael Renhofer. So effectively 17 kilometres of racing action for every single race here this evening. There have been plenty of explosions on the track. That is in terms of the intensity between all the competitors at the moment, as Gilles now completes lap number 6 and puts his kart onto lap number 7. Through into turn 1 goes the Belgian. Currently racing with JJ Racing. There's a bit of a moment there for Decline coming out of turn 1, and he has a bit more of curb taking through turn 2, but Decline hung onto that one. My goodness me, that was close, but at least the good thing is he kept it on the black stuff, didn't have any moments where the back end stepped out. Could have put him into the barriers at a moment's notice, and that's how quickly it can happen in karting. But still, at the end of the day, the gap between Decline and Jaden Thien, that now has extended, and that has gone up to around about 1.4 seconds, maybe make that 1.5 seconds, as Renhofer sets the personal best in the first sector, goes purple in sector 2, does Renhofer. He is closing on Decline, and the gap now is around about 6 or 7 tenths of a second between the pair. They go through the final corner. Gilles now onto lap number 8, and he's leading by over 3.5 seconds from Decline, who's being followed into turn number 1, the right-hand sweeper by Renhofer, into the right-hander at 2, with Jaden Thien at the moment, and into the left at 3, into the right, which brings them onto the hairpin, then the short blast down the little straightaway into the infield part of the circuit, into the left-hander that tightens back onto itself before they have to go to the right pretty much straight away. And Decline is not being allowed to breathe by Raphael Renhofer, who is about half a second away from the Dutch driver. So still, after just a few practice laps and a qualifying session, Decline definitely showing that he could factor in. Now, at the end of the day, the championship standings are decided on a couple of the following things. An exclusion will be... Oh, Renhofer tried to set it up the inside through the penultimate right-hander on Decline. Thank you, Raphael. I was trying to explain something to the crowd there. But never mind. I'm going to keep my eyes on this because it's now onto the penultimate lap. Effectively, now I lost my chain of thought completely there. Because effectively it's to do with the points, isn't it? The points, they're based on the best 4 scores out of 6 rounds, and an exclusion will count towards your total score. You can, if it's a DNF, you can actually drop that round if you need to. So it's basically the culmination of the total scores from both finals that goes towards your points tally. goes to count back, deciding a championship position. Effectively, that will be designated by the best finishes of said drivers. So Decline being pressurised once again by Renhofer. So it looks like we're going to have a very different top four at the end of this race, because Kai Rielers is now coming around to start the final lap. It's been domination in its big doses, courtesy of Rielers, as now Renhofer now has one more lap to try and get past Christian Decline. So Rielers has pretty much walked away with this one. Renhofer looking to get back up into second position. This will keep his intermediate classification score to what will be, if he currently stays where he is, it'll be 5 points after this, whereas Decline will end up with 6. Jaden Thien will be tied with Decline on 6, but effectively on countback that puts Decline just up ahead of his fellow countrymen. But it has been pretty much a dominant display from the word go so far, courtesy of Kai Rielers, as Renhofer and Decline still battling away. Renhofer runs wide, but in the meantime, it looks like we're coming into the last sector. Rielers just has one more corner remaining, it looks like, as Renhofer trying to set it up the inside of Decline, but he's running out of time now. Rielers will cross the line to take the victory for the second race this evening, but Decline will hang on, boldly does so, and takes second ahead of Raphael Renhofer. Jaden Thien will take 4th place, and here is Ed Boutron in the number 5. Great job by Boutron to take 5th position and still finish 13.7 seconds behind our race winner, who once again was Kai Rielers. So Rielers takes the victory ahead of Decline. Then it is Renhofer, Thien, and then Boutron. We'll be back in just a couple of moments' time with our third and final qualifying heat here at Zuera. Well, that was a good one. Right, well, welcome back to the third and final qualifying heat for this evening's action here at Zuera. And in many respects, it's been a dominant display from this driver on screen at the moment, Kai Gielets from Belgium. And he goes in to possibly having a clean sweep for the qualifying heats, as he's taken 2 wins so far. But the grid will still be the same. It will be Rafael Renhofer, then it will be Kai Gielets, Jaden Thien, Christian de Klein, and Ed Boutron. That will be the 5 drivers that will go into battle for one more time before we go into the 2 finals. So now, effectively, it's dependent on what happens. So lights out and off and away they go. Great start once again by Renhofer, but look, it's threading the eye of the needle between the second, third, fourth. Oh my goodness me. And someone gets turned around and collects another 2. Yellow in sector 1. Oh no, that was Jaden Thien and Christian de Klein that really got the oh my goodness me, that was absolutely disaster for Christian de Klein as Renhofer shoots his way up into first position. And in many respects, that is one of the things you don't want happening. And that just goes to show how quickly things can be turned on its head. Hello, Alexander V. All good. That's definitely not me with the Discord pings, I think. So not too sure who that might be. But at the end of the day, there are plenty of... Oh, there's a bit of argy-bargy there between Gielets and Renhofer. Boutron is now ahead of Jaden Thien, who's closing up on him. Go on board with Rafael Renhofer in the number 3. He now will make sure to see if he can get one up. So at the moment, Renhofer took 3rd in the first in the second heat just a moment ago. Took 2nd in the first one. But now, can he try and upset the apple cart and put Gielets on the back foot, trying to get through for the victory? He did that in the second, on the second kind of things, the second wave, so to speak, between him and also Gielets, and Gielets very much could be the one that has to wait and see if he can keep the upper hand on the drivers in front. And that looks to be the case at this particular moment in time. But nevertheless, oh, Thien's had another moment there. And here comes Christian de Klein. Thien closed up on Ed Boutron, and de Klein's going around the outside of Thien, going through the final corner. It's a drag race, and Thien has been absolutely mugged there by Christian de Klein, who's got the biggest run of momentum, I think, out of anybody that came round the final corner. And Thien back up the inside through turn 2. Oh, de Klein off, and he goes spinning. So yet again, problems for Christian de Klein on that particular occasion. And in many respects, that is not what Christian de Klein wanted whatsoever. So Renhofer trying to close on Gielets. Gielets is 0.8 of a second behind. So now, in this kind of respect, Renhofer leads the way. So what's happened to Gielets? That's my biggest bone of contention here. Gielets is now down in 2nd position. And that is drama for... Well, it's gone back to Gielets leading the way. And Renhofer a second up the road, second behind. So there might be a slight bit of an issue, but Gielets has put in the fastest lap of anybody, and he is now on a 1:03 .823, and that's the fastest lap out of anybody. Renhofer, a 0.9 of a second behind, make that a second. Thien in 3rd, Boutron in 4th, and Christian de Klein rounds out the 5-strong grid. But Gielets now coming towards the end of lap number 4. He's done a great job so far. Renhofer has been the only one that has been closest to him at this particular moment in time. So Gielets will have to watch himself. I mean, Renhofer was the danger driver back last time out at South Garda in the second final. As all, Thien has a bit of a moment that time, and he goes 2 wheels off the track, bringing up the dirt. And that for him is going to cause him a little bit of a hindrance in terms of between him and Rafael Renhofer, because the gap between them now is about 11 seconds. And this is where it all matters, because now Thien has to really put in the hot laps. He's not doing any better than he did do last time. And Gilets now has put in a 1 minute 3.719. Fastest in all 3 sectors so far, as we are pretty much coming towards the half point of this race. And here is Ed Boutron running at the top 4 positions, as Decline now is down in 5th place at the minute. So Decline still making sure that he's keeping on the black stuff. He wants to try and do what he can. He's got a long, long mountain to climb up. And at the end of the day, Boutron is a bit too far ahead, just in case.
Yourself, Alex, or? Ga ik een tof oppakken met de micro, maar...
Apologies for the bit of a radio silence there. We get back to the action, and Kai Rilets has lost out big time to Rafael Renhofer, and the gap now is just coming to just under 0.6 of a second as we're about to complete lap number 6 and go on to lap number 7. So in this particular respect, Renhofer still has a bit of time to close up in on Rilets, and the gap now between them is just under 0.8 of a second. And they are trading fastest sectors between sectors 1 and, or sectors 2 and 3. And Rilets was quickest in sector 3. Renhofer was quickest in sector number 2. So this has allowed the pair to close up on one another, but they are gapping Jaden Thien by a considerable margin. Thien is about 12.5 seconds behind Rilets at the moment, as we are fast approaching the conclusion of lap number 7 here on this particular race, the third and final qualifying heat of the evening. And now, in this particular moment, Decline is closing on Boutron, and this is the battle for 4th position. Boutron, at the moment, has been running in the 1 minute 5.9s, and Decline is running in the 1 minute 4.4s, and he's closing rather quickly. So this particular occasion, Decline could have, in the next lap or two, possibly 4th place, because Boutron is trying to keep it nice and tight and tidy, but Decline has a better measure at this particular moment, as they will come through round the final double right-hander. And there is Decline up the inside of Boutron to take the position. So that is now for 4th place. We're on to lap number 8 out of 10, the final qualifying heats here at Zuera. And in many respects, that will mean that Kai Rilets is on for the clean sweep at the moment in terms of the qualifying heats. Renhofer was the driver that put it on pole position, and Renhofer trying to close once again. The gap now between the 2 leaders, 0.4 of a second, make that 0.3, thanks to the efforts of Renhofer, and he was quicker by over 0.5 tenth between himself and Rilets, who still leads, and very shortly will go on to the penultimate lap of this race. Which we will do now, is Renhofer once again closing on the back bumper of Rilets. And that particular occasion, let's see who is quicker out of the two on that particular last lap. And this time it was Renhofer who was quicker by over 0.4. Down into the right-hander at turn 2 before the left at 3. And then the right-hander that will take them through into the hairpin. Oh, there goes Renhofer. Barges his way through for the lead. Now into the next left-hander. Renhofer will have the inside line, but Rielertz manages to power past at the moment. There's Thien in the background. So after this lap, one more to go, and the drivers still have their opportunity to try and put one on the other, put one up ahead as the leaders clash once again. So this time Renhofer takes the lead. I wonder if that's going to be investigated post-race, if that was an advantage by causing a collision. I'm wondering if that will get investigated a bit like the second qualifying heat last week at South Garda. But that's down to the stewards, not to myself here in the virtual commentary box. So after this, one more lap to go. Renhofer leads at the minute, and Rielertz still now is in second place, 1.4 seconds adrift. So through into the final lap we go. Now with Rielertz going down towards the right-hander at turn number 2. And then into the left. And then down towards the hairpin. And Rielertz trying to close up. He's about 1.3 seconds behind Renhofer. As Christian de Klein puts a personal best in sector number 3. And that will mean that he is not going to close. He won't have enough time to close on Jaden Thien in the next few moments of this race, because we are fast running out of laps. But Renhofer still has a few more corners remaining, but Rielertz not able to try and get past. So here we go. This is it pretty much, because Renhofer's heading towards the final double right-hander, and the number 3, despite barging, is way past the number 1 of Kai Rielertz, comes across the line and will take the checkered flag to win the third and final qualifying heat ahead of Kai Rielertz. Jaden Thien, in about 12 seconds' time, there is the number 8. He comes around the final corner, will secure third place here in the final qualifying heat. And then we will have a little bit further back Christian de Klein. He takes the final corner, and then we'll cross the line in fourth with Ed Bouton not too far adrift, and he will complete the 5-strong grid here in the third and final qualifying heat for the virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy taking place here at the virtual recreation of Zuera International Circuit in Spain. We'll be back in about 5 or so minutes time to get ready for our first final of the evening. Back in a few moments.
Welcome to a lap at Zuera. The first corner is full throttle to the right. Try to keep the steering input minimal. Brake early enough for the next combination. You can come out a bit wide and still take the left corner full throttle. Prepare for the first right hairpin. Brake early and try not to slip into the corner. Go early on throttle to keep the speed high. The next corner is very tricky. Brake late into the corner, but with low brake force to prevent slipping. Keep at the inside and always have a little bit of throttle input. Come out to the left side, don't touch the curbs and maximize the speed out of the right hander. Brake early for the second hairpin and again minimize the slip, early on throttle to maximize outcome speed. The following right hander is almost full throttle. Lift off slightly but not completely and go on throttle again soon. The triple right hander follows next. Keep away from the first apex and aim for the second and third one. Don't go all the way to the right, but keep at the inside. There is a lot of grip there. Aim for the curb but don't hit it. Stay left and lift off just a bit to prevent any slip in the last corner. That's lap at the Zuera track. Thanks for watching and good luck.
It's now time for the finals this evening here for round 2 of the virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy, being held at the virtual recreation via the R Factor 2 platform and also Kart Sim Limited software here at Zuera. For the 2 final races, we will be keeping it to 10 laps per race, and as we have found out all the way through this evening, it's been rather entertaining so far. So we have Kai Rielitz, who will start from pole position as a result of the intermediate classification, followed by Rafael Renhofer, our pole sitter for this evening. Jaden Thien will start in third ahead of Christian de Klein, and it looks like Ed Boutron has a bit of an emergency to attend to, so we wish him all the best and hopefully see him back next week for our third round at the halfway point of the season at Le Mans in France. So let's see if we can get things underway for the first of 2 10-lap finals. 25 points for a victory, 20 for second, 16 for third, 13 for fourth place. So this will give an opportunity for Christian de Klein to put some points on the board this evening. So we are just waiting for the rest of the drivers, and that looks to be Rielitz back on to pole position. So, standing start once again, 10 laps here at the 1,700 meter circuit here at Zuera. So the drivers now getting ready, waiting for the lights to go out. They do. Great start by Renhofer, who pulls ahead of Rielitz as Thien slots in behind. Christian de Klein is back up the inside through turn 1. For the lead goes Rielitz on Renhofer through into turn 2. Rielitz takes the defensive line, as does Jaden Thien. So those two in first and third, respectively, as they head into the hairpin for the first time. Down the short blast, it will put them into the left-hander at turn number 5. And Rielitz looking to keep himself in front, as Renhofer being pressurised by Jaden Thien for third place. Christian de Klein still keeping in level pegging with them, and the quartet at the moment covered by just under 9/10 of a second as they make their way towards the far part of the circuit and complete the very first lap of this race. So 1 lap of 10 nearly completed, as Rielitz goes into the sweeping left-hander before they go into the double right, which brings them onto the start-finish straight here at Zuera. So really good job by all drivers so far to keep it on the tarmac. As the drivers now come across the line, they complete lap number 1, and the whole field separated by just 1.5 seconds. As the drivers now make their way through into the right-hander at turn number 2. Rielitz leads by just over 0.6 of a second. Buddy drifts wide, kicks up a little bit of dust. That's allowed Renhofer to close, going through into the hairpin, and the Austrian trying to do all that he can, and he gives the Belgian a little bit of a tap from behind, going through into the next left-hander. And at this particular moment, Renhofer, as a result of Rielitz's faux pas there, going through, he now has a bit of a disadvantage because Renhofer is now the one doing the chasing, and Thien not too far behind. And in this particular instance, Geerlets has been doing a really good job at the front of the field. We go on board with the Belgian, based he's 14 years of age. Currently, he is the newly crowned Rotax Max Euro Trophy champion, and also is tied with fellow JJ Racing teammate Luca Schormakers for the points lead in the junior Rotax category of the B&L karting series at this particular moment in time, with their third and final round of the 2020 season, currently postponed at the moment. But Geerlets still leading from Renhofer, Thien in third. And it looks like that Christian de Klein has dropped off a little bit off of the back of Jaden Thien, and the fastest lap of anybody at the moment is from the driver that we're currently on board with at the moment, Rafael Renhofer, in the number 3. He's 6/10 away from Kai Geerlets. He puts in a 1 minute 4.698 on that last lap, and Sector 1 has just been absolutely blasted through by Kai Geerlets, a 20.862 second lap time from the Belgian, just 14 years of age. So the drivers now, as there looks to have been a little bit of a mistake there, possibly up the road from Christian de Klein, maybe by Jaden Thien, who I think went 2 wheels off the track and hit the dusty grass, and it spat all the dust up to the right-hand side of the kart. But it is still very much all to play for. We're about to complete lap number 3 out of 10 and go on to lap number 4. And this particular instance at the moment, Renhofer, what's his lap time as they come across the line? Geerlets puts in a 1 minute 4.097. That's an absolutely brilliant lap time, as Renhofer puts in a lap time that was a 1 minute 4.258. Christian de Klein was 2/1000 slower than Renhofer and puts in his personal best, and Jaden Thien has also put in a personal best, as there's been a mistake from de Klein and he tumbles back even further. What a shame for Christian de Klein, but at the moment, he will still be on course if he finishes, because you have to be past 90% of the race distance to be classified as a finisher. So de Klein on course for what will be a first score this season. So effectively, if he stays with us for the rest of the championship, last time out at South Garda will effectively be a dropped score. And that means he can then go for it for the rest of the season. But Renhofer, quickest in Sector 1, quickest in Sector 2. Now they go around the final corner to complete lap number 4. And let's see what the time is from Renhofer this particular time. They come across the line in 1 minute 4.103. A fastest lap, a personal best for Renhofer. Puts in a 21.102 third sector. Behind Geerlets, who puts in a 20.929, but you can just see how hard Renhofer is pushing, and he is doing his absolute utmost to try and get one up on the Belgian. However, Jaden Thien not too far adrift. He's setting personal best at the moment, a 1 minute 4.209 from him. He's only 1.1 seconds off of Renhofer at the minute, a 20.923 from Jaden Thien. And it's getting a little bit closer, 1.4 seconds behind Renhofer and 2.3 seconds now behind Kai Geerlets. So Thien has some work to do. We're about to complete the 5th lap, so that will be halfway marked in this first of 2 finals. So 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third. And Geerlets will extend his lead to a 5-point advantage over everyone, over in particular Rafael Renhofer, in this championship, as they come through the right-hand sweeper at turn number 1, into the right-hander at 2, before the left at 3. And so in many respects this is going to allow Geerlets to start getting away. He did exactly that, and this is a repeat performance of what happened in the Euro Trophy this season, which he secured back at Adria in the last weekend of October, taking a double victory and winning by a considerable margin, a total of 145 points to his Euro Trophy credit this season. So Geerlets, one to watch out in the next couple of years or so, as one of the shining stars of the future in my eyes. So Geerlets doing a great job. Rafael Renhofer, you can't discount him. He's represented Austria in the grand finals for Rotax, as has Jaden Thien for Team Netherlands last year in Minimax. So these drivers definitely doing a very good job, and several of them have been putting in the laps behind the sims, as there is Christian de Klein. He's 11.5 seconds off of Kai Rielitz, and he's 9.1 seconds off of Jaden Thien. But Renhofer still trying to do his best, and he's putting the fastest lap of anybody. A 1 minute 3.822 from the Austrian, 0.625 behind Rielitz when they crossed the line last time. The gap now just around 0.6 of a second. So Renhofer a little bit slower through sector 1 that time in comparison with Rielitz. Thien puts in a personal best of a 1 minute 4.120. That's a 20.94 second first sector for Jaden Thien. Christian de Klein sets a personal best in sector number 1. And in that respect, that's good for the Dutch driver. However, he will still have time on his side to try and close up. But the laps are fast counting down because we're about to complete lap number 7 out of 10. And you can see how hard Jaden Thien is trying to work. And he is about nearly 2 seconds adrift off of Renhofer, who is in fact trying to close on Rielitz. And that is still very much the case. That gap really hasn't changed much over the last couple of laps or so. It's dipped between half a second and 0.7 of a second between the pair as they get through towards the hairpin. So a little bit of dust kicked up by the left-hand side of Renhofer's kart. So now, once again, that's going to compromise a driver in any particular moment. So very much a fluid track here at Zuera. It's been an absolute pleasure seeing how these drivers have been getting on. Now, this particular track is used in regular competition, both for Spain and also international competition as well. As very shortly, we'll be going on to the penultimate lap of the first final here at Zuera on the second round of the virtual Road to Formula karting trophy. So Rielitz still has a lead of around nearly 7/10 of a second as they go on to lap number 9 out of 10. So just over 3 kilometers of racing still to go in this first final. And it's been pretty easy so far for Rielitz. He's got a gap of just over half a second as we go on board with the number 1. And Renhofer still behind, but the gap has now closed. It was half a second. It's just under 3.5 tenths as Renhofer puts in a 20.757 through the first sector and has really got the hurry-up sign now. We saw that earlier on. He managed to do that on Rielitz in the last qualifying heat this evening, and also in the second final last time out at South Garda. So the drivers still pushing like crazy. Just a couple more corners after this one to this left-hander to negotiate. And Rielitz now senses that there is a little bit of danger behind. He will be able to see that Renhofer is not that far behind. Right, final lap of the first final. And Rielitz and Renhofer go sweeping through into turn 1 for the last time, into the right at 2. And then into the left at 3 before they head into the hairpin. Some really good racing from these two drivers here. And Renhofer, that's as close as he's ever been, if not as close as he's been all race. As they go through and through the right-hander, it looks like Rielitz taking a little bit of a wider line in comparison with Renhofer. But the main thing is that Rielitz has kept it in front. The gap is just under 0.4 of a second. So Rielitz still keeping himself in front. Not that long to go until we complete the final lap and we get the checkered flag. And this time around, Kai Rielitz has done the absolute perfect job. And he's kept his kart where he needed to be. As they go through the final corner, Renhofer runs wide, but Rielitz retakes the lead in the championship standings with a maximum score of 25 points ahead of Rafael Renhofer. Jaden Thien takes third place, and with it 16 points. And here comes Christian de Klein, and he will take fourth. So well done to all drivers for coming across the line. So that is it for our first final, with Rielitz taking the win. Then we have Renhofer, Thien, and de Klein. That is the way that it finished in the first final. And with it, Christian de Klein finally puts his name on the score sheet in this championship. So we'll be back in about a couple of minutes or so's time for the second and final race for the second round of the virtual Road to Formula karting trophy here at Zuera. Back in a couple of moments. Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the final race here at Zuera, our second 10-lap final. So at the moment, an update on the scores. Scores on the doors, George Dawes, as they would say in Shooting Stars, with Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer. Here in the United Kingdom, if anyone might remember that particular show. If not, Google it. You'll know what I'm talking about there. Kai Helitz now has a 5-point lead. He's on 70 points ahead of Raphael Renhofer, who's now on 65 as a result of the results from final number 1. Jaden Thien now jumps to third in the standings on 32 points ahead of Frederick van Oerloop. Ed Boutron, who I think has joined us for this final, will be on 24 points. That puts him fifth in the standings ahead of Christian de Klein. But the the starting grid for final 2 is what we have from the results from final 1. So Kai Helitz will start from pole position. Raphael Renhofer in second place. Then it's Jaden Thien, Christian de Klein, and Ed Boutron rounding out the 5-strong grid. And once again, we will have another 10 laps of racing. And it seems like Kai Helitz has got a fan club on the official YouTube channel, thanks to Alexander V. So we will have another standing start, and next week we will head to Le Mans for our halfway point of the season. The format will remain as it is all the way through for the remainder of the virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy, brought to you in association with Kart Sim Limited, IMB Raceware, and the GP VWC. So the drivers now lined up on the grid for one final time, one final hurrah, as they wait for the lights to go out and we go racing once again. Let's see who gets the whole shot going into the right-hander at turn 1 of the 1,700-meter circuit here at Zuera. Lights out, they're off and away. They push the accelerators hard to the floor, and once again Renhofer gets a lightning start as Thien gets up past, as this time Renhofer not able to keep Helitz at bay, and oh, that was Boutron going spinning off of the first corner. So in that particular aspect, as up the inside, the two leaders clash, and there comes Jaden Thien and Christian de Klein to get through. De Klein manages to get past Renhofer, and Renhofer tried to get past him as, Helitz and Renhofer, that's turned the tables way upside down, and that could be another race victory as Boutron running the back bumper of Helitz. Sure that Kai Helitz not very happy about that one. That was a bit overzealous from Raphael Renhofer, as now Thien and de Klein battle for the lead on the very first lap here at Zuera of the second final. So with the incidents involving Renhofer and Helitz coming off worse than anybody, he's really got to have that opportunity of trying to move forward. But Jaden Thien leading the way. He crosses the line as the leader, just over 4 tenths ahead of Christian de Klein. 1 minute 12.624 from the number 8. In many respects, that is a really, really good turn of pace for Jaden Thien. So, de Klein has a mountain to climb. Sorry, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it this evening. Whoops, that one slipped out, didn't it? Renhofer in third place, Helitz in 4th, and Boutron in 5th place. So at the moment, Kai Helitz has firmly got the bit between the teeth, because guess what? He's just gone purple in sector number 1, a 20.910 from the number 1 driver, based out of Belgium. And he's 2.7 seconds behind Raphael Renhofer, who's gone purple in sector 2. Let's see if Helitz has that opportunity. He's put in a 22.169 on sector number 2, fastest out of anybody. So a good job, a good recovery. And the good thing is that Helitz will have another 8 laps to try and close in on those in front. And the first target is Raphael Renhofer, as Christian de Klein puts in a 20.692 second third sector. A great performance there from Christian de Klein, a newcomer to us here at the virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy. And Jaden Thien now goes quickest in sector number 1, a 20.819. Helitz third quickest on a 20.930. And he's about 2.4 seconds behind Raphael Renhofer. Helitz. This will change a bit of the championship dynamic, because effectively with what happens here. If Willetts finishes in 4th place, that will give him 13 points, putting him on 83. And this will actually basically mean that we'll have the same sort of thing as we did after the first race, the first set of finals, as Jaden Thien crosses the line, still leading by about nearly 1.8 seconds from Christian de Klein. And Jaden Thien will start closing up on the 2 in front. So Willetts looking to try and get himself back on level peggings with Renhofer. But at the moment, with the way things are, that is not going to happen, because if you have one incident, you can start recovering back from it. And that's what Raphael Renhofer is doing at the moment, as Jaden Thien puts in the best lap of anybody, a 1 minute 4.097. Decline on a 1 minute 4.604. Renhofer a 1 minute 4.106. Willetts in the high 1 minute 4.1s. And Renhofer is about 1.5 seconds behind Christian de Klein. So effectively, Renhofer, well, would be, if he finishes in 3rd place, he will take 16 points. That puts him on 81. So effectively, Willetts would still be leading by 2 points after this particular race evening. As we go on board with Renhofer, we're now on to lap number 5, so we're effectively nearly at half distance yellow at sector number 3. So the final sector, that looks like Ed Boutron has had the wind out of his, quite literally taken out of his sails there, unfortunately, and he has dropped all the way down to about 28.1 seconds behind Jaden Thien, who's now back on your screens there. And he's 2 seconds up the road from Christian de Klein. And Raphael Renhofer has just put in a 1 minute 3.725 second lap time. Willetts has just gone purple in sector 1 with the 20 points, and that sector was covered in 20.757 seconds. So he is also getting a little bit quicker as the track starts to evolve. The tyres start to sort of work their magic, if you will. And Renhofer now 0.8 of a second behind de Klein as we fast approach the completion of half-time here at Zuera for the second final. Thien leads by over 2.2 seconds from de Klein. Renhofer closing, and he is about 0.6 of a second behind. Willetts just puts in a 1 minute 3.856 second lap time that time around and closes the gap to Renhofer to what is about 3 seconds, but it is not going. It's going to be a case of damage limitation, I fear, for Kai Willetts, having led the way pretty much all evening, apart from Renhofer taking the final race victory. He did get a warning as a result of the second contact between himself and Kai Willetts, as designated by race control and race direction before the intermediate classification was officially ratified by the series organisers. And this is where it's going to get a little bit up close and personal, because I have a distinct feeling that if Renhofer, he's closing on de Klein. They're coming through the final corner. They're about to complete lap number 6 and go on to lap 7. Renhofer is really on the cusp of, if he gets the second place finish, he will go 2 points ahead of Willetts onto 85, heading out of this round here at Zuera. And he's getting closer. Look how close he is. Oh my goodness me. Up the inside on de Klein goes Renhofer to now take second position. And that now has given him provisionally the standings lead here at the Virtual Roads to Formula Karting Trophy after the second round. 4 more rounds remain after this one. So we'll have Le Mans next week. Then it'll be Adria, Christianstad and Genk. That will be the conclusion of our 6-round calendar after this. So not too long now to find out if de Klein is going to fire one back, as Willetts now trying to close, and the gap between him and de Klein is about 2.1 seconds. So Willetts really amping up the wick. Look, they're on the same bit of tarmac now. So Kai Willetts has just been trying to methodically move forward, and he's been running about 0.3 of a second quicker than de Klein, who has been battling away, let's not forget, with Renhofer. And there is Ed Boutron in 5th place. and still will score and will actually overtake Frederik van Overloop in the standings after this round, as long as he makes it to the flag. So we've got this and 2 more laps still to go as Kai Helitz goes quickest. That's a 20.723 first sector from Helitz. And what a job from him. A 22.1 in sector number 2. And there's still more to come from the youngster. As Jaden Thien comes across the start-finish line to go onto the penultimate lap of the race. So the youngster from Soesteren in the Netherlands goes steamrolling his way through turn number 1. And here is Rafael Renhofer. He's about 2 seconds adrift at this particular moment in time. And the gap now closing. And that's a significant close. He's closed about half a second onto Jaden Thien. Make that more like 7 tenths. And then it's sort of... the equilibrium sort of goes back in the favour. The pendulum swing goes back in the favour of Jaden Thien on that particular occasion. And in many respects, that just really shows the quality and the calibre of the field that we have got. We might not have the biggest grid here on the virtual Road to Formula Trophy. However, we do have great drivers. And Thien being one of them, he will take them on to the final lap of the evening and be on course for being the 3rd different winner in the final stages of any race evening so far out of the 2 that we've had. On to the final lap of the evening goes Jaden Thien, leading Rafael Renhofer by 1.6 seconds. And then a little bit further back, to the tune of about 2.5 seconds, it is Christian de Klein. And then it is Kai Helitz with Ed Boutron rounding out the top 5. So all 5 looking to finish the complete 10-lap distance, which will total 17 kilometres from lights out to checkered flag. And there is de Klein. He's sitting quite stationary in 3rd place. As Renhofer trying to close up, but it won't be enough for the number 3 in 2nd place. And there is Helitz still in 4th at the minute, but still will give him an opportunity. He still will be in the top 2 in the championship after this race. But now, for the final time, this time we have a 3rd different race winner in the final stages. Jaden Thien takes an emphatic race victory here at final 2 at Zuera, crossing line just under 6 tenths ahead of Rafael Renhofer. Christian de Klein takes 3rd place with Helitz rounding out the top 4, and Ed Boutron will complete the top 5 positions. And that has really changed everything. So I'm just keeping an eye on the scores, so just going to calculate them as I go. So Renhofer was on 65 points, now goes on to 85 as a result of his 2nd place finish. Kai Helitz will drop to 2nd in the standings once again on 83. Jaden Thien will go on to what is effectively 57 points on that front. Ed Boutron will take 11 points, and that will put him on 35. And then Christian de Klein will end up on 26 points, just putting him in 6th place in the standings after what has been 2 good races for Christian de Klein. And that is really all for the racing action. We should hopefully be speaking to a couple of the drivers momentarily once we get the opportunity to speak to them. So firstly, Rafael Renhofer is our championship leader for the 2nd round in succession with a total of 85 points, having secured 2nd behind Jaden Thien, who now goes up into 3rd in the standings on 57 points. And that is 26 points behind, I think. Yes, 26 points behind Kai Helitz. So in just a couple of moments' time, we'll be back with a few interviews to close off the show here on the virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy. Well, that's it from us here at the Virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy. Obviously, the drivers want to get themselves steeled and ready for Le Mans next week. So that's where we'll be at the Circuit Alain Prost in just a week's time. So on behalf of the Virtual Road to Formula Karting Trophy, brought to you in association with Kart Sim Limited, IMB Raceware, and the GPVWC, this is Alex Goldschmidt, your official commentator, signing off for now, and we'll see you at 1900 Central European Time next Thursday for the halfway point of the season. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and good night for now.